Hello, fellow equestrians. It's super early here. I'm in Colorado at the moment. I had a long flight from Germany, and I wanted to do the part 2 of the dangerous horse topic. And I know last time I mentioned I wanted to share a true story about a dangerous horse that I had an encounter with. And I want to just say, there's not very many horses that I'm going to group in the box of dangerous. Okay. Yes, of course, all horses can be dangerous. All horses, it just takes one kick, even if it's an accident, even if they're kicking at a fly and they don't mean to. So all horses have the potential, of course, to be dangerous, but specifically what I am talking about for this video is a horse which is extremely aggressive. Okay. A horse which is intentionally dangerous, with, a horse that knows that they are big and strong, bigger than you, stronger than you. They know that they can do bad things if they really want to. So that is specifically what I'm going to talk about in this video, is what do you do with a horse like that? Okay. What do you do with a horse that is big? They know that they're strong. They know that they're stronger than you. They're not, like scared of you. Not that we don't want horses to be scared of us, but you know what I mean? They see you as somebody that's small, like a little ant. And, what do we do about that? And it's very rare that you find horses like this. I'm just going to say a lot of the times it's our fault. Okay. It's our fault. It's usually, if a horse, especially let's say a stallion, if it's a stallion and if it's really young and you don't put those manners in, or you don't kind of train them in the beginning, then by the time they grow up and they're big, if you didn't put those manners in, it's your fault. Okay. So this is a true story. And this is not something that I've, really shared before. But the reason I want to share this story with you guys is because if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, I hope you never do. If you do, I want you to have the tools to be able to be safe. Okay. So that's what this video is about. So I was working at an Olympic yard, and at this Olympic yard at the time, I was a working student. I was really new on the job. I think I was there for 1 or 2 weeks, and I was 21 years old. I was very young, and this was my first overseas international job. So there was 7 other grooms at the time. And, it's my first couple weeks, my boss, who's an Olympic rider at that time, she actually she was doing the WEG, the World Equestrian Games in the US. So I was in Belgium and she was in the US. And, I was a newbie. I was a new student at her yard. So I had a lot to prove, let's say, before I could start really working with some of the more advanced horses. And so, I was fine with that. I was willing to put in the time and the hours. But there was one horse at the stables that it was sort of forbidden for anyone to handle that horse. Okay. It was forbidden for anyone to handle that horse except for the owner of the stables. Okay. The Olympic rider, obviously. And there was I think 2 grooms at the time who had been there long enough that they were allowed to handle that horse. And when I say handle that horse, what I mean is that horse was actually her second horse for the Olympics. Okay. So she had her horse number 1, which she was out at the WEG with. That horse was her number 2. Okay. He was a stallion. He was huge. Okay. He was a big, warm blood. He was probably 18 hands. Okay. He was massive, solid muscle. I mean, he's Olympic ready. Okay. Solid muscle, big, strong stallion, and beautiful. And he knows it. Okay. So only 2 grooms were allowed to work with this horse. And what I mean by that is they were the only ones that were allowed to take him out of the stall, take him to the treadmill, take him to his paddock. If a vet was coming or something, they were the ones that had to handle him. Okay. They had to saddle him up for when our boss was there, and anything on the ground, they were kind of the only ones that were allowed to work with him. And the reason was it was famous at that stables. He was known for being dangerous. Okay. And I mean dangerous. He was known for being aggressive, potentially very dangerous. So, I was new at the stables, but I just want to mention this, and I want to make this very clear. I was not unfamiliar with stallions at this time in my life. Okay. I had actually worked with a lot of stallions. Although I was 21, I was already certified as a horse trainer and certified as a this and certified as that. I had all kinds of certifications. I had done an equestrian college. I had already done a lot of stuff at this point in my life. Okay. And, I was kind of cleaning the stalls. So I was pushing a wheelbarrow of poo. I was pushing a wheelbarrow of poo outside of the stables into the milk pile. And as I was kind of pushing this wheelbarrow, and again, I'd only been there for a couple of weeks, I saw one of the girls, one of the two people who was allowed to lead this horse, this dangerous stallion. I saw her. She had the lead rope in her hand, and he had to have a chain under his jaw. Okay, that's kind of what this stables decided was the best thing, because they had, young students and things. So they had a chain under his jaw attached to the lead rope, and that's how they would lead him from A to B. And she was leading him. But here's her number one mistake, and I want to mention that to you guys right now. She had her phone out. Okay, she had her phone out, and she was looking at her phone. Dangerous horse over here. Okay, she's holding onto the lead rope, and she's kind of playing on her phone. Now, maybe she's done this with him before. I don't know. It was I'd only been working there a brief period of time. But the thing is, although he seemed very calm in that moment, he was leading with her. Okay, he was leading with her. She was playing on her phone, and everything seemed kind of okay. So I'm pushing my wheelbarrow, and guess what? Like that, everything changed. Okay, because in that moment, I don't know why, but he saw his opportunity. Okay, and that stallion, as big and strong and powerful as he was, who had this girl leading him, playing on her phone, he saw an opportunity in that moment, and he took it. And what he did, okay, it happened in a fraction of a second, by the way. He reared, okay? He rears up. He spins to her. He doesn't just rear and start, he rears, he spins to her, and with the intention to do like bad things, he kicks her. He kicks her in the face. I'm pushing a wheelbarrow of poo. I see this happen. He rears, he spins, he kicks her in the face with his front hoof. It happened so fast. This poor girl immediately goes unconscious. She got kicked in the face. He kicks her here. A tooth of hers goes on the ground next to her. She's immediately unconscious. Okay. She drops in a heap on the floor, unconscious, tooth lying next to her. Okay. And he's still rearing. Okay. And it happened so fast, but I didn't want his two front legs to come down on top of her. Okay. So in that moment, I just reacted. Okay. So I had dropped down my wheelbarrow, and the next thing, like before that horse even knew he was loose, because he was loose, he could run anywhere. There was a highway not that far away. Like, he's loose. He could go wherever he wants. He could harass any mares. He could anything. Like, before he could even figure out that he's now loose and there's nothing attached to his lead rope, I dropped my wheelbarrow and I jump and I grab onto his lead rope. And I think I reacted so quick that actually he was kind of shocked. So he kind of comes back down to earth, obviously not on her. And, so now I have this unconscious girl laying on the floor there. So I lead him away from her, and I start screaming at the top of my lungs, like, help, help, somebody help, call 911. I don't know what 911 in Belgium is, but I'm shouting at everyone, help. Right. So I'm now holding this horse, which technically, I'm not supposed to be leading him. Okay. There's only 2 grooms that are allowed to work with this horse, but I'm on it, And so this horse, I'm screaming help. But as I'm screaming help into the stables, I'm not taking my eye off of him. Okay. I have the corner of my eye, I'm fully aware of this horse. Okay. I'm not going to turn my back to him for a second. And this is what happens. And I kind of expected it. And this is what I want you guys to expect as well, if you're in this kind of scenario. So he tested her, and guess what? She's unconscious on the floor. Now what's he going to do? He's going to test me. Okay. And that's what happens. And I see it in his eye. I see it in his eye. And I want you guys, really, if you're working with any horse, dangerous horse or not, any horse, always, always, always look at their eyes. Okay. And because you can read so much in their eyes, even if in the beginning you don't fully understand what their eyes are telling you, always, always look into their eyes. Okay. You'll see either the softness, you'll see that they're thinking about something. So I looked into his eyes and I saw he was going to try and test me now. Yeah. He tested her. Now he's going to try it with me. So and if you're just joining me now, I'm telling a true story of a very dangerous horse, which I encountered. So he had already kicked this girl in the face. She's unconscious in the floor. I'm screaming for help. I still see him in the corner of my eye, and I look into his eye and I see he's going to test me. And what he does is he rears up and he tries to spin and kick just like he does with the other girl. Okay, but I'm already ready for it. I was standing at his shoulder, which means he can't get me. As long as I'm with his shoulder, he can't reach me. Okay, so I'm standing at his shoulder. He starts to rear and spin just like he did with that girl. But guess what? He's got a little chain under his jaw. So I just do in one move, okay, no anger. I'm not angry. I'm not emotional. In one move, I take that lead rope and I do like the wave. Okay, like the wave. You see people in a, I don't know, ball game, like the wave. I do the wave. I'm not angry. I'm not emotional. I'm not upset. It's really and truly, I'm looking him in the eye and I go, boop. The second I did that, he put his legs back down on the ground and he kind of did this like, ooh. And then his eyes immediately soften. Okay, his eyes immediately soften and he kind of looks at me like he's a puppy, like he wants a scratch or something. Okay. And so what I want you guys to know, so, help came. She had to be taken away by an ambulance. She had to get a new tooth and everything. Like, luckily she was okay. After that day, I was now in charge of this horse because nobody wanted to lead him. So I had to work with him a lot while I was there, saddling him or leading him or putting him on the treadmill or catching him from the field and all this stuff. And what I want to say is this: that horse was a puppy with me from that moment forward. Okay, he was a puppy. I also never, ever, ever turned my back to him. I never was playing on my phone or distracted. I was always 100% with him. Okay, but he never even thought about doing something like that with me ever again. Okay, and the reason I want to share this story is because you have to have, one, timing, but you have to know when you have to kind of take a stand. Okay, that stallion, stallions in the wild, especially because he was a stallion. This story would probably be different if it was, I don't know, a mare or a spooky horse or something. The story would be completely different. But in this scenario, with a stallion, an aggressive stallion who knows he's a stallion, okay, he's bred mares before. So he knows he's a stallion. Stallions in the wild, what do? They fight each other. And they fight so aggressively that at some point, either one horse is going to die or one horse is going to have had enough and back down. Okay, so with a horse with a mentality like that, okay, had I been the person who backed down, okay, he would have forever known he was alpha over me and that he can do stuff like that. So because in that moment, and this is the key here, the reason I mentioned again and again, don't have emotions, okay? Don't be scared. And I know that's hard. That's another thing we have to teach you. But you can't be scared. You can't be having anger. You can't have frustration because, what he's doing is he's testing me. If I'm angry, it's kind of like with people as well. If you're trying to talk to somebody and you get angry at them, do you think that person is going to help you out? Not in that moment, probably not. So, it's kind of like with people, we have to, if we're going and we're asking them to do something, I'm asking this horse to go from A to B. Okay, he doesn't have to go to A to B. I'm asking him to go to A to B. He has things to do on his calendar, probably. He's like, I'm going to nibble on this grass over here. I'm going to go over there. So I'm telling him, you have to go from A to B. Okay? Same like if I'm going into a situation with a person. I'm asking that person, hey, can you do such and such? Okay? So I have to be not angry. I have to be not emotional. I have to be calm when I'm asking him this. And that way, when he makes his little tantrum or he makes his little drama, it's now his fault. He knows when he reared and he was trying to kick me, he knows he was wrong. This horse was 15 or something, 10, I don't know. He's old enough. He knows you're not allowed to kick people in the face. But he did it. He saw his chance. So, I just want you to know it's so important. So important not to be emotional. Now, the other thing that I want to mention, because sometimes, it's really popular right now, this whole positive reinforcement, which, fair enough, but that's not going to work in this situation. Okay. It drives me crazy when I see a lot of these positive reinforcement people. I don't know, they call themselves trainers, but I'm not going to call them that. And they are not understanding because they have no experience with horses like this. Okay. A dangerous horse in a dangerous situation, if he's rearing and trying to kick me in the face like he did with that girl, a treat is not going to help. Me praising him, that's just going to make it worse. So, positive reinforcement, although it has obviously a time and a place, this is not the time, nor was this the place. Okay, so you need to understand that positive reinforcement does not fix everything. Okay, you have to have some boundaries, and you have to be able to, all I did was boop, wiggle the rope. Okay, I did it strong enough to get his attention. Yeah, but that's all I did. And I only did it once. And when I say I only did it once, I mean I only did it once for the entire 3 months I worked with that horse. Okay, because that's all I needed. Like, that's the only time I needed it. And then it was like an understanding between me and that horse. He was like, oh, okay, I get it. You're the alpha. And then after that, he was a puppy. And I could do whatever. And, when you go and you have a horse like that in the field and you go to catch them and put the halter on, that moment where you don't have a halter on them, you don't have that lead rope with the chain. Okay. If I hadn't done something like that, then that would have been his opportunity to do the same with me. So I just want you guys to know, hopefully this story has been helpful to you. And, like I said, not every horse is dangerous. Okay, not every horse applies to this. This only applies to like the small handful. I've worked with thousands of horses, and I'm not exaggerating. I've worked with thousands of horses around the world, and I can think of two, maybe 3 times where I've had a dangerous horse in a dangerous situation. Okay, so for the most part, hopefully you guys never have to do something like this. But I tell this story because, in that moment when she was leading the horse and she got kicked in the face and I was pushing that wheelbarrow, that was kind of my moment. It's one of those, I know there's like an expression, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Like, this is one of those moments. Okay, it's better to know in the back of your mind how to handle a situation like that, because you might be at a horse show and a stallion does something similar to someone else and gets loose, and maybe that's your moment. Maybe you catch that horse, and because you're there, everything is fine. So that's why I share this story. Hopefully it was helpful to you guys. I know it's entertaining enough anyways. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. I just want to let you know I am hosting a free webinar training this week. I'm doing it at a different time than I was last week. So there's a link down below or above or wherever the link is. Click that link, because I'm going to be it's going to be like a 90-minute training. Okay, so make sure you attend, and I'm going to give you a free copy of my book, Speaking the Horse Language, just for showing up. But I'm going to be doing this webinar free training, and I would love it if you guys could join me, because I'm going to talk about 3 secrets, which I feel is very important. One is how to have a sticky butt. Okay, and this is a good kind of sticky butt. I think we all need that, because, I'm so passionate about this, because I don't want you guys, like, safety is my biggest thing. Okay, that's why I share this story, to be honest. So safety is my biggest thing, and I hate it in this like equestrian community where we're sort of taught that we have to fall off in order to be real horse riders. I was told when I was a kid, like, oh, you have to fall off 7 times. It's so ridiculous. But anyways, so, I don't want you guys to be in that mindset of like, oh, I have to fall off or I'm not a real horse rider. You know what I mean? So I'm going to teach you how to have a sticky butt. Okay, I want you not to fall off. I'm going to tell you the opposite of what every other horse trainer is doing, or horse instructor. Like, I don't want you to fall off ever. So yeah, I'm going to talk about in the free. It's a free webinar. Okay, so join me. I'm going to talk about the sticky butt. I'm also going to talk about confidence. So in this video, how I'm mentioning, you can't have any emotions, you can't have any fears. So that's part of it. Okay, having confidence. I was very confident in that moment. I had worked with stallions before, so I was familiar. I knew what to do. I knew how to keep it cool. I need to teach you guys how to do that as well. It's one thing for me to share a story. It's another to actually like be able to do it. So, I'm going to talk about that. And then the third thing that I'm going to talk about is actually, there's so much like barn drama and cattiness in the equestrian world for some reason, especially like on the internet, on Facebook. Like, you always see barn drama and people being negative to one another. And, you know, I really hate that. Like we all love horses. You know what I mean? Like we all love horses. So I'm going to teach you guys how you can actually have equestrians tip their hat to you. Okay. Show their respect, show their love, show their support without having to deal with this barn drama or cattiness or, you know, feeling like the next episode of Desperate Housewives. So yeah, it's a fun webinar. I did one last week and a bunch of people showed up and it was a lot of fun. So I'm going to do another one this week. So just click the link, wherever it is. And it's my free webinar training. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I have a whole list of topics. I've been getting a lot of messages from you guys about different topics for videos. So, you know, I kind of have like an overflow that I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. But if you have other topic ideas for me, just let me know. And I love hearing from you guys. So thank you so much. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.